Hey, hello everybody.
Spooky.
Welcome to our Halloween spooktacular here at Insurance 360.
Hopefully it's as exciting as the many Simpsons Treehouse of Horrors.
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure we'll be right there as well. So, as always, I am Bob and I'm here with my good friend Rob.
What's going on, Bob?
Happy
Halloween.
Yeah, happy Halloween. And here at Insurance 360, if you were not aware, we are 100% about truth, justice, and the American way.
Superman over here, people.
Yeah. And a little fun fact about Halloween for everybody, if you're not aware, it is actually Rob's favorite holiday. He prepares for it like a month in advance. He's like thinking about, what am I going to be this year?
I had this lined up 2 months ago for the podcast, obviously. I was well prepared.
Yeah, he's all over it. So we are actually not only in Halloween, but smack dab in the middle of one of the sometimes scariest seasons of the year, AEP, when it comes to Medicare. This year,
it's been very scary this year.
This whole year's been a little bit dicey, I think, to say the least.
A lot of people running around, there's a lot of, talking to agents every day. It's a lot of plan reviews. And, unfortunately, I think we're going to see a lot of, normally we see a lot of plan changes, right?
Yes.
And for those of you that are listening to this podcast, if you don't know, the main carriers tend to not give you credit as an organization for renewals and that type of thing.
That's an existing case.
Yes,
and it's just a plan move.
They want new business to that company. So yes. You could write 10,000 people into the same thing, and it's not going to count towards your goals, because we all have goals at the end of the day.
Yeah. So some of the stuff, I think the theme we talked about today, and I think it's appropriate for Halloween, is some of the scariness and some of the myths that are out there when it comes to insurance and what we do on a regular basis. So, and I'm sure as insurance agents, we all hear a lot of the same stuff, right? So one of the things that I always like to combat, and I think there's a good way to do that, is I don't need that. I'm fully covered, right? Yeah. I'm fully covered for everything that I have. And we know it's probably not the case for most people that they're fully covered. A lot of times people just don't want to think about other things that could happen to them in their lives.
Yeah, especially if you're offering life insurance to someone in their 20s, right?
Right.
They think they're going to live forever.
Yeah, they're too young, they're too healthy.
Yeah.
The idea behind income replacement, do they have a mortgage now, right? Some of those type of things really probably aren't what they're thinking of when it comes to their lives. They're invincible still.
Yeah. Wait till they hit 30. You're gonna go to bed uninjured, wake up injured. All right.
Yeah, somehow that happens.
You pulled your
right?
calf in your sleep. It's not fun.
Exactly. And then a big theme for this year, I know we've been kind of screaming from the rooftops, is that health insurance policies, Medicare policies, don't necessarily cover everything, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a little bit of myth, maybe more in the public perspective, that, hey, once I have my Medicare Advantage plan, I'm good, right?
Yeah.
Once I have my health policy, I'm good. And there's a lot of other options to cover some of those gaps.
There's a lot of
deductibles, everything that comes along with it. I know we preach hospital indemnity. We preach, cancer plans, dental, vision, hearing, especially this year. And actually, we've invited even a special guest to talk a little bit about one other really important reason that you should be talking about ancillary plans, especially during AEP. So we happen to have our special guest, Dustin.
Good old Dusty.
Dustin from our Medicare health insurance sales team with a really important fact that I think everybody wants to pay attention to. So
let's see what he has to say.
One of the most scary things during AEP is not getting paid your commissions till January. Slap those fears away by selling hospital indemnity products and earn cash now. Join us at the top.
Anybody cares about actually having commissions and payments coming in during AEP? it'd be good that you take a look at some other things to be able to sell, right? Not
Yeah.
only are they good for the client.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I don't know what the percentage is, right? More policies you have in the house, the more likely you are to hold that person. There's a lot of call centers out there that are doing whatever they can to get your business and take your clients. And, the only way to do that is to make sure you layer the coverage at the end of the day.
Exactly. And as I mentioned with Rob, loving Halloween, I'm going to put him on a spot here throughout the episode here. And I want to make sure that he's able to give us maybe some things that people may be not aware of when it comes to Halloween traditions there, Rob. Hit us with a fun fact for
I'll
Halloween.
give you a fun fact. So, ironically enough, I don't know if you knew this, but way back in the day, they actually didn't use, and obviously this isn't necessarily when America really even existed, but they used turnips and other vegetables as jack-o'-lanterns. And then once America became a thing, pumpkins were a lot more abundant here. So we went from turnips and other vegetables to what we know today, the jack-o'-lantern.
Wow.
I don't know if I saw someone with a turnip jack-o'-lantern.
I think I might have to try that next year. Maybe trying to put a candle in a turnip. see how that goes.
It's going to be a little dilapidated,
yeah,
I'm sure.
Well, yeah, but it's pretty cool. But that makes sense, right? People use what is available to them at that time. So that actually makes a lot of sense. One of the other things we were looking at when we talk about insurance myths is that remember that cheapest isn't always the best, right? And that goes with most things in life, right? If it's free, if the deal's too good to be true, there's probably a little get you somewhere in that deal.
Well, I'll date you a little bit. Let me tell you a story. So, in fourth grade, my mom was always a thrifty shopper, okay? She decided to buy me, do you remember Shaquille O'Neal's Shaqs?
Oh, yeah.
He had his own shoes. She bought me Shaqs from Kmart instead of the Nikes that I wanted. First day of fourth grade, the tongue of my shoe just falls out. It's the first day. So I have to walk around all day. The tongue fell out.
Yes.
And what did we save? We saved probably $50-$60, right? But now my mom's going to buy another pair of shoes. So if we had done it right the first time,
exactly,
you would have spent, if not as much, more, right? At the end of the day. So I think that's a good example of looking at it from a perspective of goods, right? If what you have is not going to help you at the end of the day, when something happens and you're not covered, why have it?
Yeah, it's about quality. Definitely making sure that it fits for you, and that, listen, it's something we've been again shouting. As an insurance professional, you're talking to your clients, you're giving them all the options, right? You don't just go in there and say, well, let me just show you. I put your information into a system. This one's at the top, says 0 premium. We're going to sign you up for that and have a good day and move on to the next one. There's probably some more things you have to look at, right? Yeah. Is it going to be the ancillary plans that are going to be needed? Maybe that does have some big hospital out-of-pockets in that plan. Maybe the formulary is not as good in that plan as one of the other plans that are there. So, cheaper isn't always better. That's our job in educating individuals, right? Making sure they have the best possible scenario set up for them.
Fact finding is super important. And it doesn't matter if it's, Medicare, if it's, the Affordable Care Act, if it's life insurance, if it's annuities. You have to really know what matters for your client. I think there's a lot more variables sometimes with Medicare because, if dental matters for Mrs. Jones, it might not matter as much for Mrs. Smith. Maybe she likes, a travel benefit.
Yes.
Maybe she likes to go to, international countries, right? So there's certain things you have to look for when you're doing this stuff. And you don't know that unless you really talk to your clients.
Exactly. And honestly, this really brings up a good point. There is really a chilling horror that lurks during AEP there, Rob. And one of those things that really every agent should pay attention to, especially this year, right? There's a lot of carriers out there in all the different footprints that agents are selling in. So you can't just say, give me the 3 companies that I've always had and be done with it. So we also, our next guest for today is Teresa from our support team. to talk to us about how important it is to make sure that you're getting certified.
Oh yeah, big deal.
For all the different companies that are in your fold. So when you're doing those comparisons, you are actually seeing what is the best option for my client out there. So, Teresa, give us some insights on the certification process.
Give us some wisdom, Teresa.
Elvis here. Without these vital certifications, they risk being haunted by missed opportunities, lost clients, and compliance nightmares. But fear not, there's still time to escape your fate. Complete your certifications before the witching hour, prior to the end of AEP. Elvis has left the building.
Always good to get certified. Listen, we know how painful it is. I did my certifications end of September-ish,
Late.
Beginning of October.
Don't listen to this guy, okay? do your
that's
search in
later
June.
than you probably should be getting that done. And not only certification, make sure you're contracting for the ancillary. There's no cert test to take for those, but you want to make sure you get your contracting done there as well. So I think I'm going to maybe hit you up, Rob, again. I think we need another.
You need more facts. You need more facts from me?
We need another fun fact. So turn-ups next year for everybody with the jack-o'-lantern. What else we got?
So, obviously Halloween colors, right? Where did they come from? Or what do they symbolize? So I didn't know this going into this, which I think is pretty cool. So orange equates to harvest, right? And, at the end of the day, for many, many millennia, we were all farmers, right?
Sure.
That's how we got all our stuff. We could just go to a grocery store and pick up whatever we wanted. The black stands for death and the unknown, which makes a lot of sense, right? Halloween's filled with the creepy crawly and stuff.
Sure.
And then purple was added in later, after the fact. So you see a lot of purple now as well, and that's more about the mystical and the spiritual side of things. So I thought that was pretty cool. I didn't know what the color stood for Halloween.
So it wasn't just somebody said, I really
Black
like
and
orange and it's not being used for much.
They were fans of the Philadelphia Flyers. Like, you know what? Let's make it black and orange.
That is true. Without the purple.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, no. So we talked a little bit about those certifications. One thing that we know is the plans change this year, especially in the MA world, right? That's just something that just happened greater than I can remember.
Yeah.
One of the things we're seeing is a big change in the supplemental benefits.
Yep.
It's a little bit scary. I mean, you take a look at these plans, they all have the OTC cards, they have gym memberships, all these little extras, the dental, the vision, the hearing plans. And then all of a sudden this year, it's like, well, maybe they have dental, vision, hearing, maybe they're not the same as they were before. They have OTC, maybe they're not the same as they were in previous years. So I know a lot of agents have been spending time on that. Now, what I've been waiting to see is maybe they could add some supplemental benefits. Like last year, I think we were on track to do something like this. What happens if there's a zombie apocalypse? Is there any kind of coverage in the MA plan for those type of injuries? That could very well happen.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it could. And look, I think for us, right, it's about being prepared at the end of the day.
Yes.
I will say this though. There is actually some insurance policies that have a clause for the zombie apocalypse. And I know it's a joke in some cases, but if it happens, hey, and you got that policy, cash in. I don't know if the insurance company will be around if there's a zombie apocalypse, but you'll be able to do that. But really, at the end of the day, it's about being prepared. And I think the problem with insurance and what we sell is it's intangible, right? So our goal as an insurance agent and as a brokerage is to make the intangible tangible. Sure. And that goes, I think, really back to the fact finding and kind of educating your clients on, all right, well, here's all your gaps. Here's how we can fill them. And then not giving them that yes or no question. It's how do you want to fill them? Let's fill them this way, right? Not do you want this today? Because you're going to get no 99% of the time.
Yeah, a lot of people just think, hey, this will never happen. And listen, we laugh about the zombie apocalypse, but it is an election year. And if you watch the news, you think the zombies have already overtaken the airwaves.
Well, it depends on where you go, right? If you go on Fox, if you go on CNN, you're getting different polar opposites.
Yeah, it's interesting, but it will be interesting in a couple of days. It could have some craziness going on.
Back in the day, you saw pitchforks and flames and stuff. We might see that again in a week.
We could have the pitchfork coming back out again, and there could be some trouble.
Could be some angry mobs.
Oh my goodness, yeah. But we're talking about the fact that you got to be certified, you got to be contracted. But there's definitely some rules with contracting, especially during AEP.
Yep.
Right? The word is blackout. If you haven't heard the word blackout, I was happy enough to get our licensing guru Cindy to join us today to give us some feedback on what is a blackout and how can agents overcome this situation. So Cindy, give us some details.
In the cold and dreary world of Medicare contracting, there are scary times for our agents. Blackouts are the time when agents can't contract. This can leave them and their clients in limbo. Until now. They can feel like an endless night during AEP. But remember, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Ancillary and MA carriers, with them you can offer clients full coverage, even in the dead of the Medicare season. The Pinnacle contracting team is here to guide you through all the scariest contracting moments. Call us for help.
Obviously, the carriers are super busy.
Yeah.
And they pretty much just say, like, listen, anything you want to do with contracts for the Medicare Advantage, you got to get it done before pre-sale, for the most part.
Yeah.
You got to get it done before October, right? Once October hits, we can't have all the agents kind of moving all over the place and even some of them trying to contract. They just don't have the bandwidth to do all that. Apps are getting written. Agents need to be getting set up. If they're moving from hierarchy to hierarchy, who's getting ready for their business, it opens a whole can of worms because things are so fast and furious during AEP. So it gets a little bit crazy. So blackout is something that we deal with every year.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I mean, look, it's at the end of the day, it's not fun if you're with a company that promised you the world and under-delivered, right?
Right.
But there's always next year, and
Yes.
a lot of times it's out of our hands. I mean, the blackouts are implemented by the carriers, and there's not much we can do, other than wait it out.
Yeah, exactly. It's just something we deal with, and listen, it's not the worst thing in the world.
No.
But it's about being prepared beforehand, making sure you're getting your stuff done, set up where you need to be, companies you need to be with.
Yeah.
And then you make sure you get your certifications done in time, and you get things rolling. So
don't be like Bob over here.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to wait as long as I waited this year.
Yeah.
That wasn't good. And then, Rob, do we have a last fun fact for today? Do we have anything else we can talk about?
I saved this one for last because I feel like it's very divisive. Okay, I am a fan of candy corn. Now, I'm not a candy person in general. I don't keep candy in my house. But during Halloween, it ends up in the house at some point. And my mom, the second time I talked about her, in a good light this time around, Mom, if you're listening to this, but she would always buy me Peeps and candy corn. And I know that many people don't like that because of how sugary they are. And I would agree, it probably rots your teeth. But if you didn't know, candy corn was invented in the 1880s by a gentleman named George Renlinger. And it was originally called chicken feed because corn was what they used to feed chickens back in the day.
Got it,
So
got it.
that's
All right.
actually what it was originally called, and then eventually turned into candy corn more towards the 20th century.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. Now, I will say, if you YouTube candy corn, a little something I was talking with Rob about, you can stack candy corn, and it will turn into corn on the cob. So, if you want to Google that, if you're really interested in the candy corn, especially today,
Yeah.
you knock yourself out. You can stack it; it turns into a little corn on the cob piece.
He blew my mind. I'm gonna go buy a bag when this podcast is over and check it
Exactly. So, definitely a lot going on, but even with the plans changing this year, you're dealing with all your clients. You have to add plans. You have to move them somewhere else. But if you are not still marketing and growing your business during AEP, there is something wrong. And even, we could talk about going into OEP after the fact, which is obviously marketing is a lot different during OEP with the rules. But
Absolutely.
You've got to fit in time that you're doing marketing. And our last guests of today are two experts in marketing and sales here at Pinnacle. We have Angela and Jeff. They're going to talk to us a little bit about why it's so important to make sure that your marketing and lead programs are set up prior to AEP to make sure you're maximizing the opportunity for your business. So Jeff, Ange, give us some of those words of wisdom.
This AEP, you need to maximize every moment by using every resource, especially this year when clients are eager for the guidance through all the changes. Agents need to seek out new clients with all of the vigor of hunting a monster on Halloween night.
It's natural to fear the unknown, but you must not fear seminar selling. If you fall into the trap worrying, who will attend, will they be interested, you will lose the battle. You have the power. It's time to be a force for light in these very dark times.
This is your chance to show clients a path forward through the changing landscape of AEP. This AEP sees every opportunity. Your success awaits if you dare.
Great stuff, everybody. Like, listen.
It's a foggy day, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
That light, leads are important, and they'll get you through to the end of that fog.
Exactly. And I know the sound of doing a presentation to many people is honestly worse than death.
Yes.
I get it. You do it once or twice, it's like anything, right? It's like muscle memory when you're working out.
Yep.
It just becomes like you get better at it, and the seminar selling, even the educational meetings do so well with growing your business, building your funnel, not only during AEP but all year round. But during AEP, we kill it.
They crush. Yeah.
So there are some really, really good lead programs in marketing that you should be doing all year round, which include meetings. And they also should be done during AEP. They really work well. You want to grow your book of business. You just don't want to move everybody from one plan to another plan. Listen, you got to make sure your clients are obviously in the best plan available because they change every year.
Yeah. And those meetings, I mean, I know, obviously after COVID, you really couldn't do any of them. A lot of it was virtual, right? A lot of people doing Zoom and stuff, but people want to be, wined and dined a little bit. And I think that it differentiates you from the 32 other pieces of direct mail that they're getting during AEP or before they're turning 65, right? I mean, I talked to seniors like I had 22 pieces of mail from 22 different insurance agencies and companies. So doing these meetings and getting them some dinner, you can't buy them liquor, unfortunately, but I think the sales might be
educational events. You keep them generic. You don't talk about product, specific companies. You don't talk about that stuff. You talk about the AEP, the Medicare 101, something like that. Keeping it generic, and then those individuals that want to get more information, you set up appointments with them, right? And you go through their particular scenarios, and you go from there. But it's really, I think, important. Even that, an important thing is, because we get asked this all the time, like, hey, I want to do meetings. Can you come out and do the presentation for me? Yeah, I could, but they're going to look at me then as the expert and the person they want to talk to.
Yeah.
You need to do the meeting, your meeting, and they're going to look at you as the expert that they want to talk to.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, a key word you said earlier was pipeline. Right? You're not going to get everyone in there that's going to be eligible to move, or maybe they're 62, or maybe their wife is turning 65, or whatever the case is. You're building a pipeline for future sales as well, and even referrals from the meeting. So it's like a branch out. It almost looks like a family tree at the end of the day, right? You start with one or two, and then before you know it, you get 10 to 15 sales in a couple months from now. those things. So
Yeah.
I'm a big proponent of them. I know many agents did do them, and it's definitely something you should be working into the mix.
I'm going to throw a little fun fact. It's not a Halloween fun fact. We'll call it a Medicare fun fact for this year. With all the turnover and changes, I guarantee that OEP is going to be busier than any previous year as well. So everybody should be prepared for that. Because what's going to happen is what happens in January and February with people with new plans. They start using them.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they say, hey, I don't like this. I'm paying more than I used to pay.
Yeah.
This wasn't, and they forget maybe how an agent explained the change to them, or something, got missed in the explanation.
My specialist is no longer,
Network
I can't see
changed,
them. Or,
exactly. So we think really OEP ought to be busy this year as well. So don't forget about meetings during OEP for Medicare loans, right?
Yeah.
Setting up meetings with people, as much as, there's a lot of education going on prior and in AEP, it's complicated stuff. It's complicated for everybody, let alone the seniors that are trying to figure out, all the different plan stuff. So they're going to be jumping on opportunities to get more education, especially once they start seeing some of the changes in their plans.
Yeah, and I mean, look, December 7th is going to be here before we know it, right? So you have a good 3 weeks, and sprinkle in some holidays and stuff in there, right? But you have some time to really plan out and figure out what you're going to do in those 3 weeks to really kind of hit the ground running for, January, which is really when you should start doing stuff.
Yeah.
You want to be front and center in people's minds. Now, obviously, you can't mention OEP. It's it's almost like Fight Club, right? You can't talk about Fight Club to anyone else.
Fight Club.
Don't talk about Fight Club.
OEP is
don't talk about OEP.
Don't talk about OEP. It's literally like you are able to do generic marketing and those kind of things, and you're going to have individuals that are going to be confused about their coverage still, that are going to want to get more information. So there's still definitely opportunity. I think you're going to be a lot more activity during this OEP than in previous years. So it's just going to be something we're all dealing with.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I'd make use, of our marketing department as well. We have a lot of great people, a lot of great designers. If you're not doing anything right now, obviously, if you're busy, we're going to have 3 weeks to start working on stuff so that you can be prepared for January 2025 too. So make sure you reach out.
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully we didn't scare anybody too much. Like people are like, oh, I'm getting out of insurance. That's it.
Got to make sure our buddy here, Jeff, says bye to everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Halloween's always an interesting day. It's going to be a fun day. It's going to be a busy day. We appreciate everyone taking some time with us for our little holiday special here, and we look forward to helping everybody grow their business. Don't fear AEP. We're here to support all of those things that are confusing for agents and clients as much as possible. So utilize the team, take advantage of us.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for. So we're going to end it there today. Hope everyone has a great rest of their Halloween. Make sure you don't eat too much candy.
Yeah,
right?
Stay safe. I mean, I don't have any good puns to end on like this guy, but just make sure you stay safe. And I think the key here is just be prepared.
Be prepared. There you go. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, guys.